Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Josh Scorcher of the top 10 Earth bosses. Let's hop in and check it out.
Subject is most commonly referred to as soil, dirt, or earth.
Earth.
Ooh, loud.
Someone's going to be very happy about this list.
They can speak for themselves, but they know who they are.
Earth. Quite possibly the most ubiquitous element
Oh,
of
that's
all.
kinda cool.
It's the very thing that we stand on. Whether it's moving a rock, creating golems, or trapping people, the applications are immense. We're looking at the Earth in
Damn.
all of its purest forms today. Rocks, sand, minerals, you name it. You know the rules by now? So let's rock.
Crystals.
Guys, can we at least try?
Oh, and look at that. They actually have their own console. That saves me the trouble. Boom, boom, boom. What the? Oh, damn. That's kind of cool.
I'm sure anyone who's a Mario
and that's
Galaxy
loud.
fan has not yet forgotten the face of our ghastly stone-shelled fiend, Bouldergeist. As far as the bosses in the game
I
go,
like that
he's
pun.
decently intricate. Throwing rocks at you telepathically and summoning walls of stalagmites, take him down a notch,
Is it really telepathically, considering he's a ghost?
and he enters his second phase, where he starts summoning giant rocky arms to protect himself and slam you with. He even doubles on the stalagmites.
Haha! That
Stalagmites.
has been doubled!
Facing him regularly, he's not that bad.
Okay, that's a
But
little
come the
funny.
Daredevil challenge, and the excitement kicked up a notch. This is when you realize just how careful you need to be dodging his attacks and not getting caught off guard by the booze. It's such a tense
What
and
up?
fun fight. Easily some of the best in 3D Mario. But as this is an Earth-themed list, there are bosses here that just handle the element much better than just simply chucking rocks at you. Don't take our
He is a
gravelly
ghost.
friend lightly, however. He's still a great boss that's absolutely worth coming back to anytime.
Huh, short and simple, and he's done. Well, on to number 9.
A Batman Arkham
Clayface.
villain. They made him out of clay. In Batman Arkham City, with Clayface I shall play. Was posing as the Joker, a face made out of clay. In Batman Arkham City, with
Now
Clayface
this is
I
gonna
shall
be
play.
good.
He has an earthly body with legs so strong and thick. And when he gets all frozen, he dies and then I win. This Batman
Right into the
Arkham
Leviathan-
villain, his face
Lazarus
made out
pit.
of clay. In Batman Arkham City, with Clayface I shall play.
Not bad.
Come on.
Not bad
You
at
knew
all.
he was coming when you saw the title for this video. You
I
cannot have a
should've.
list of best Earth bosses without talking about Clayface. This monstrous stop-motion character was originally a man named Basil Carlo, an actor who starred in several B-movie productions. He was driven to madness when he found out a classic film of his was getting a remake without his involvement. Ooh, topical. Thus, he
Oof,
took on the role
that
of the
happened.
film's villain, Clayface, of course, and proceeded to kill the remake's cast and crew. Luckily for all of Clayface's adoring fans, we get to fight him in Batman Arkham City. However, his role of a lifetime basically boils down to luring Batman to his demise by posing as the deathly ill clown prince of crime and serving as the game's final boss. I mean, the plot twist was pretty well executed. Things you thought
Very
were
well.
glitches weren't actually glitches. And it was foreshadowed. What about the boss fight? Well, after revealing his true identity, he'll swing his arms at you, form into a ball, and try to roll you down.
Oh.
It's up to you to freeze blast him enough times so you can grab your sword and slice him down without him trying to smash you. So yeah, I'd say as a boss fight that utilizes earthly substances, it's pretty fun. Even if
Oh,
it is a little
completely.
standard. Also, I can't get over the fact that this brutish, taciturn monster is supposed to be Clayface. He's an actor, a thespian, a paranoia-inducing body snatcher. He's not this.
I will become you!
Now, he was used cleverly in the
I mean-
story here, but all he does is throw clay at you and you just bat him around a bit until he falls
Ah,
into the
fun.
Lazarus pit and dies. Wait, how do you die by falling into the Lazarus pit? Should that technically make him not a clay anymore?
Well, technically, according to the comics, if you are deathly ill or dying and get into the pit, you'll be resurrected completely just fine. But if you're perfectly healthy and you fall into the pit, you immediately boil away. So, yeah, you can die.
Jeez, Ra's al Ghul's got some explaining to do.
I just did it for him. Take a back seat, Ross. Well, on to number 8.
While we're talking about Earth bosses, it's only natural we're gonna have to start digging deeper. For you see, the knights yearn for the mines!
Shovel Knight, Shovel
Knight's
Knight.
one of those games where they really went hard
Get
on
out
the
of here.
bosses. Being partially inspired by the Mega Man games, of course, it's gonna have its own villainous band of mooks serving the big bad. Enter the dastardly Order of No Quarter. This dark round table of knights all control different territories in Shovel Knight's world, each bringing their own brand of tyranny across the land.
It's like,
and
oh,
what do you
God.
know? One of them hold out underground. Mole Knight is the foreman of the Lost City
Mole
Dig Site,
Knight.
a series of underground ruins that he's excavated in search of treasure. This guy runs a very tight work schedule, and Shovel Knight's presence here is quite bothersome. True to the moniker, Mole Knight's battle has him show absolute mastery of the terrain surrounding you. From charging in
Obviously.
and out of the walls, drilling into the earth to trick you with fake dirt piles, and enticing mini eruptions, it's clear that dinky
Ooh.
little shovel of yours isn't
Got some
anything
good
to this
style.
guy's skill. He even goes as far as dropping dirt blocks down to bury you, trapping and setting you up for combos with his other attacks. Hope you brought the dust knuckles for the stage fire,
Combo
because you're going to need
breaker.
to escape the grave this guy digs for you.
There is no escape from the fortress of the moles.
But, well, Mole Knight's pretty simple to take down compared to the other bosses in this game. Punches clock in and a bunch of his mole minions come to carry him away. All in all, pretty decent boss fight. And then the
Hello, difficult.
refight in the Spectre of Torment and King of Cards campaigns comes in, and Mole Knight shows he's got plenty of tricks still up his sleeve.
Oh,
Namely, his
damn.
green bouncy goo.
I can't cook without my goo.
Would you believe me if I said that Mole Knight, this guy who absolutely humbles Shovel Knight in the art of digging, is actually the least impressive member of this game's rogue gallery? Yeah,
Oh,
Shovel Knight's
that's not
stacked
even
to
a
the
question.
brim with some really good characters and boss fights. Even being the quote-unquote least notable villain in this game, Mole Knight still sets the bar stupidly high, or low, in this case.
It would
Yeah,
be
semantics.
low, because he digs. Get it? Is that actually a giant stone woman? On to
It's
number
pretty
7.
common to see Earth when fighting Berserker or Axe-type enemies, and just seeing them hit the ground so hard that the literal Earth splits and chunks go flying at your face, it looks so cool. Luckily, Kingdom Hearts has a good one. Lexius is probably the least fleshed out member of the OG organization. He's your strong silent type, not wasting his words or his strikes against those around him. And it isn't surprising to see that the strong silent Earth is his bread and butter. He can summon rocks from the ground whenever
It's always
and
a
direct
classic.
them to wherever he wants. Like how he threw Sora in his data fight and just launched a boulder geyser line right to him. Yeah, he's strong too. You remember the impact that Riku faced just by being tossed by him. He even has the unique
Damn.
ability to increase his
Ooh.
power and give himself super armor, making him unflinching and making his boulder geysers, trademark, get so much bigger. This is a double-edged sword, as the stronger he gets, the more damage you can deal from using Reflect. If he gets to
Oh.
99,999 power in his data fight, you better hope for that reaction command, because he will destroy you if you make one wrong move. Fighting him
Yeah,
is
you're
simple.
dead.
Block his attacks, use the reaction command to break his aura, and combo him, combo him, combo him. With Riku, counter him with guard breaks and duels and attack when his guard is down.
You gotta get him that
Despite his
combo
strength,
breaker.
I'll admit he's one of the easier data fights in KH2, but it's still a fun challenge in Recom. Though, challenge is relative in this series. Any fight can be easy or super hard depending on what strats you used. Unless it's Data Zaldin or Data Dark Riku. Can't cheese those guys. I tried.
Maybe you just didn't try hard enough. Or maybe you did. Oh, on to number 6. We move.
Oh boy, it's time to talk about sand! The Sand Vault
Okay.
is one of the more interesting dungeon items you can find in the Zelda Pantheon. There's so much gameplay
For a second, I thought he was actually about to say, it's time to talk about Fire Emblem.
potential that can come out of the ability to create platforms around sandy terrain. This carries over to the boss fights as well. In Spirit Tracks, we have Skeldritch, and yeah, it's not a bad fight, but honestly, I'm looking for something much more fast-paced and action-packed. Something like Link Between Worlds Zaganaga.
Zaganaga?
Ziggy Stardust.
Broken!
As the boss of the
Oh,
Desert
that's
Palace,
funny.
you fight this giant cactus worm atop a quicksand as it fires its minions and sand lasers at you from a distance. You gotta use
that's
the
a
sand
laser.
wand to move from one pillar to the next, and once you get near it, into the worm grinder it goes. While the boss itself doesn't use the sand element in very complex ways, it's a fight that highlights just how tense you can make a fight
Not
revolving
bad.
around the sand wand. It definitely earned a lot of points for not just being creative, but also exciting. Sure, the boss can be a bit of a damage sponge, but hey, not the worst cactus boss to be one.
Oh, God. Oh, we move from the Cactus Sands to number 5. It's...
You guys know how we here at Fiery Joker Productions have a bad habit of using the same boss over and over? Well,
Yeah.
now we're doing the same game. Hey, not my fault that E7 has really good elemental bosses. Those dragons go hard, though not as hard as that boss theme.
Ooh, damn, that is. Oh, damn. Keep it up. Oh my god.
Radamanj is the first of the dragons you fight, and man, does it set a bar. This big guy does a
Damn.
combo of using earth and plant attacks to keep Adol and friends on their toes. Shockwaves, falling boulders, vines coming from the ground, fire, and laser blasts. Don't know how those last two relate to earth, but hey, they're cool.
Not at all.
Start by attacking the crystal at the dragon's feet and watch out for that tail. After they're gone, you can attack the head, but it won't just stay there. Hope you mastered flash guarding. Once the stone dragon's at half
crap.
health, he will roar and send you to the abyss below. Don't worry, the
Oh, you
fight's
gotta
still
run.
going as he chases you and tries to eat you. Now this is a trial. You need to wait for it to try and bite you and then attack the head when it's lower. And you need to do that while avoiding more shockwaves, fire, and lightning balls being rammed and laser at. Okay, what element was this guy again? Oh, who cares? It's cool.
It's
Keep that up,
apparently
and the first
all
dragon
blend of
trial
plasma.
eventually ends, leading to a whole arc of backtracking, insane dragon fights, and guitar riffs. That last one is mandatory in any Ys game. People go back and
But
forth
it's
about which dragon
appreciated.
fight is better, this one or the Moon Dragon. I honestly don't care, since both fights are awesome and show how good an Ys fight can be when the chips are on the table. Too bad we can't talk about the last two dragons. We already did their countdowns. Plug.
It is a bit of a shame, but now we move on from the Dragon of Oz to number 4. It's...
Mega Man Battle Network likes to take old Robot Masters and give them some design tune-ups as they become
Ooh.
net navies. Despite this, the games don't mind
kinda
introducing some
cool.
new faces every now and again, Desertman.exe being one of these. This freaky little golem is the net navi of Tsunayama, the host of the N1 Grand Prix and also an agent of Wily. He uses the tournament as an opportunity to defeat our rival Chad, and when worse comes to worse, abducts his father so he can steal Proto Man. Fortunately,
Oh,
Land
come
comes in and
on.
smacks the Westabu in the face before
Ow,
challenging
what the
him to
hell?
a battle. To start with, Desert Man will try to maul you with these hands and even create quicksands on your side of the field. Damaging him is tricky, as he will always hide behind sand pillars and each hit he takes will cause him to shift away immediately. In harder versions of this fight,
Dude, that's
Desert Man
terrible.
will spawn sand even on your side of the arena, impeding your movement with each tile.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
It can
Yeah,
definitely
look,
be a tricky
Anakin.
fight if you don't come prepared. But fortunately, it's never a hassle to stock up on some water chips to keep the boss solidified so you can rip and tear through the sandy fella.
Oh,
Heaven knows
of course.
Tatooine could use some right now.
Well, we move from the artificial desert to number 3. It's...
Picture this. You're off on your perilous quest to slay a bunch of Titan-sized wild animals under the vague assumption that you can revive your friend. You just slayed 9 beasties and you're feeling pretty fantabulous.
Oh no.
You and your horse come across a
Ugh.
sandy terrain when suddenly...
Okay, cool, the camera.
Oh, meet Dirge, or as I like to call it, the mother of all danger noodles! It is the 10th
Oh.
Colossus you have to kill on your quest, and arguably one of the most aggressive. The moment you even set foot on
I
its
like
land,
him.
it's got you on its radar. It burrows beneath the sand, slithering around you, chasing you, waiting for the perfect chance to make you its next meal. Occasionally it pop its head up and
Come, I will make you suffer.
Look at those eyes!
stare into my soul. And they're even freakier if you get a game over.
I will enjoy feeling you suffer as I devour.
Oh, wait, so if you die to the Colossus, you actually get a custom game over? Ooh, I did not know that.
At me with them big old eyes.
Now, Dirge isn't exactly
like
a
it.
hard boss, Just stay on your horse the whole time, keep out of the beastie's reach, and shoot it in the eyes with your arrows. Then while the monster is distracted, just climb on top and hit its vital weak spots. It's actually one of the easier colossi in the game. That being said, you don't want to get cocky, kid. It's agile and nimble for a beast its size, and you really gotta pay attention when it's burrowing,
Oh,
or
yeah.
the last thing you will ever see will be those freaky eyes. If I look under my kids' beds and see those eyes, we're selling the house.
No doubt about that.
Everyone dies!
Well, we move from the horrifying snake of the sand to number 2, It's.
Once again, this whole broadcast has been brought to you by Sam. It's everywhere. Get used to it.
Get used to it.
Sandman, a well-known figure in
Ooh,
Spider-Man's
a
rogues
Spider-Man
gallery.
villain.
With a name like that, he sounds about as gimmicky as it can get. But depending on the writing, he can actually be a very compelling character. Naturally, it was only a matter of time before he showed up in the Insomniac Spidey games, and he made his debut in a major way as the first
damn.
major boss of Spider-Man 2. After years of being under the radar, Flint Marko is back to his Sandy persona. Something has him spooked, and he's making it everyone's problem. He grows into a kaiju-sized monster, whipping up an enormous sandstorm and laying waste to the city.
It's the middle
Even
of
with
New York.
2 Spider-Men on the case, he's still a massive powerhouse. He throws debris at you, grows multiple limbs to grab at you, and even spawns mini Sandmen to rumble with you on the ground. At one point, he freaking yeets Miles halfway across the city. If I have
And
to
that's a true
nitpick anything
yeet.
about this great fight, it's probably the easiest boss battle in the game. I mean, yeah, it's the tutorial to get you reacquainted with the controls for both Peter and Miles, fair, but
You know, hold on. Before we actually continue on with this, just want to point out one thing. I bet in the honorable mentions, he's going to have the sand-belching meal slug from Pikmin 3.
once you get into the swing of things, no pun intended, there's not much to it. But the difficulty isn't what makes the Sandman tussle the runner-up. Once again, it's presentation! What, really? Not gonna play the clip again?
Oh,
Fine.
we get what you mean.
Presentation. What the fight lacks as a challenge,
Presentation.
it makes up for as a cinematic experience. Sandman is enormous, and playing from both Spiders' points of view gives you a sense of how big he is as a
What?
threat. You can
What's with the
feel
crystals?
the earth shake from the mere act of him swiping at you. Even after you beat him, the damage he's done doesn't magically go away, as most of the city remains buried in sand for a good chunk of the game. Add to it, later on, we go on a side mission that involves finding crystallized versions of Marco's memories, which adds a more sympathetic layer to the Sandy Brute. Really makes me glad that Flint was one of the villains who
Oh.
got reformed instead of the half that... Spider-Man 2 was a wild time for villains.
Apparent frickin' leave, but damn, did that actually seem kind of cool. Now we move on to honorable mentions. Who didn't make it?
Quaggled Clops, Pikmin. Of all the
Damn
strange
it.
designs of Pikmin, this rocky crystalline thing with hooves and a strawberry brain is just the freakiest. Senator Armstrong, Metal Gear Rising. You could fill a bingo
Really
card
now?
with how many times we discussed this patriotic beast. Escavalion,
Oh,
Grand
yeah.
Blue Fantasy Relink. Very cinematic fight where you can surf on sand. I wish this game came out sooner, as those other elemental fights are peak. Bertha, Pokemon Gen
They do
4.
seem kinda
Those
cool.
rematch fights are scary, scary, scary.
And now we move on to the best of them all. Number 1.
Here we are at number 1, and as normal, you're probably expecting the obligatory Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Arkham, or Shadow of the Colossus entry. Wait, we already did 4 of those. Which
You
means there's
literally
one
did
left,
all of them.
And it's time to go big. So big that if this game was out when we did giant bosses, it would eat Sin for breakfast. So
Oh,
finish this
shit.
up with Titan from Final Fantasy 16. Clive and friends have got up to some shenanigans at this point, trying to find his brother, destroy a bunch of crystals, and get revenge on a man who attacked his base of operations 5 years prior. The man in question, Hugo Kupka, blamed Clive for killing
Oh,
his
damn,
lover
he's already
and attacked
big.
them as revenge. Even though Clive didn't technically kill her, the ones who did used her to force Clive and Kupka to fight each other. It gets complicated, and the less I talk about Odin in this game, the better. Anywho, Kupka is Titan, and the two finally had their showdown in the most insane fight I've seen since Asura's Wrath.
Go
The battle
on.
starts like a normal Eidolon fight between Ifrit and Titan, but Titan is massive. Like, Ifrit is huge too, but he barely goes up to Titan's knee. You need to dodge Titan's earth attacks while keeping up the pressure. During the fight, you learn Brimstone, a shield that can explode on impact, granting you more abilities to deal with the incoming rock avalanche.
Oh yeah,
You
that
think
is
knocking out
cool.
Titan's HP would end the battle though, but thanks to Crystal's shenanigans, he knocks back Clive dozens of feet and becomes even more massive Titan lost.
Dude, this boss is like those weird-ass comics of muscle growth that just do not stop.
Of course, our boy is
He's
in
got a
as he
tiny
dashes
head.
towards Titan, launching fireballs to deal with the falling boulders. This part is mostly cinematic and on rails, but oh my gosh, it's so cool. Clive jumps from rock tentacle to do any sort of damage to Titan. There are sections where you'll be able to lay the hurt to Titan himself, but the damage you do is minuscule to this behemoth. Some QTEs will eventually see Clive knock those tentacles into Titan's head, splitting him in
Titan
half.
lost.
And yeah, the fight still isn't over. Ifrit and Titan clash while falling through an abyss of crystal and rock. You need to time your dodges and attacks well to deal as much damage as you can as Kupka practically drags you to oblivion with him. He will throw rocks, smash crystals, and use magnetism to finish you off. Well, Clive got one final trick with the same crystal
That is
shenanigans.
awesome.
Goes through one last epic power struggle that ends with Kupka turning to dust. This
Ooh,
fight
now that's an
is
ending.
crazy. And the amount of build-up and execution that occurs is just mind-boggling. Say what you want about 16. The Eidolon fights go so hard. Yes, harder than stone. Haha. But
Only
I lost
two
my
rock punch?
breath just fighting him. Never mind, Clive has spent half the fight swearing and jumping around a little old mountain. Or my PS5, which sounded like a wind turbine by the end of it. There was no contest for Titan.
Oh,
being
you
at
know
the
what?
top.
Yes.
It was the most rock-solid choice I could have made. And that's the last rock pun. And the Fiery Joker?
Only 3?
October is coming up, which means it's time for the darkest, the most disturbing, and uniquely scary to show their stuff.
Ooh, what was that? Alright everyone, well that's going to be the end of today's video and I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out, peace.